At this point, hopefully you have collected your control trial data using your faithful Barbie of choice or whatever particular doll type thingamajiggy. So you should have data here. Don't worry about getting all your calculations yet. Now you need to move on to collect data on your experimental trials, which is when, of course, you are using a parachute on your Barbie. So you can't just jump ship for a new Barbie if you find one that's more interesting to you. Obviously, your doll has to be a constant, so you have to use the same one. So you will either attach your parachute that you've already built, or you'll have to borrow a loaner parachute. To be able to get all your data and do your conclusion, you'll really need to make sure that you're using your time well. So if you haven't built a parachute yet, go ahead and borrow a loaner parachute. Notice you have to put it in the baggie and close it when you're done and put it back inside the box so that other people can use them. So grab a loaner parachute. Some work better than others. It's really just luck of the draw. You'll want to attach that to your Barbie. You have stuff for your keys? Yeah, you can just put it out in the hallway on that cart and we'll take it over. Thank you. Sorry. That was our little commercial break. So once you have your loaner parachute, you're going to attach it to your Barbie in whatever way you want. If you want to hang them by the neck, that's fine. If you're going to go by the feet, that's fine, as long as it's the same way every time. Then you need to, again, have one person go down with their stopwatch and your data sheet. They're going to go outside. One thing I want to worry about, there is really a lot of mud right there. Really a lot of mud right there, so you need to be careful about that. So wait till partner is down there. Make sure you have some sort of communication system. Once you get your little guy out the window, you're going to want to try and spread out that parachute. If I just drop mine like this, my parachute's not going to do me much good. Also, be aware, see the tree? If you land in the tree, you're going to have to figure out a way to get your little guy down to repeat your last trials. So 3 trials with your parachute, and then Buddy's got to bring it back up. So 3 trials. When you are all done, you need to make sure that you take your parachute off your Barbie. Barbie goes back in the box. What up? And obviously you have to put your parachute back in the Ziploc, close the Ziploc, and put the parachute back inside the loaner box. Then at this point you should have data for all of your experimental trials. Now that you've got that, you can get your average times. So add these 3 numbers together, hit your equal sign, divide by 3, that'll give you the average. Add these 3 numbers together, hit your equal sign, divide by 3, that'll give your average. These are not what you use in your conclusion. Remember, our dependent variable is descent velocity, so we've got to do a little math to get those numbers. So now you should be able to fill in your average times. This one goes here, this one goes here. And then you can calculate your descent velocity for your control trials, your descent velocity for your experimental trials. To get the difference, you're going to take whatever your big number is minus your small number. That'll give you your difference. And we predicted your velocity was going to decrease, so you need to document whether it did or did not and whether you should accept or reject your hypothesis. Now remember, your dependent variable here was velocity. So in your conclusion, you have to use your velocity, which is labeled in meters per second down. Do not use these numbers in your conclusion. Those are just your times. So in your conclusion, you're going to accept or reject your hypothesis. You're going to cite your data, explain that your control trials were when Barbie had no parachute, low surface area, and her descent velocity was whatever you got. Experimental trials, when Barbie had a parachute with a high surface area, your descent velocity was whatever it was. The difference was whatever it was, and that does or doesn't seem significant. Then in your reasoning, you need to explain what your velocities mean, explaining why a smaller number for velocity means you're going more slowly. Think about that inverse relationship. So then, once you're all done, thank you. Once you're all done with that, then you can turn in your lab. So the word you need to be able to tell me is donut. If you can tell me that word, you're ready to do your control or your experimental trials.